Hey everybody, we are live here at 22nd Street Landing with the Danny Kadota Show. Danny, how are you?
Great, Philip.
Good to
Great,
see you, man.
You have a good 4th?
Had a great 4th.
Wow.
You know, it was Ruth's first 4th of July as a U.S. citizen.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
how cool is that?
Doesn't get any better. Well,
No.
I had an epic 4th.
Yeah, you're hanging out with some big shots.
Yeah, we were up in Santa Barbara. We had a dinner, and we were very blessed. But my stepdaughter Nicole was getting married to Jack Mapes, and his mom and dad. Well, his stepdad is he used to play David Pack from Ambrosia.
Yeah.
And then the other guy that was there is a guy, that little known guy, Michael McDonald.
Michael McDonald, Doobie Brothers.
His voice is like yours. You know, it's so recognizable and just phenomenal. But I mean, they were just so mellow, so cool, and he wiped out and just did. Michael McDonald pretty much wiped out half that deal of ceviche. So we'll probably I'll give that recipe to you guys later. So yellowtail ceviche, but you know, I bring it all over the place. But yeah,
it's a hit all the time, right?
Yeah.
Michael
So
McDonald. So the
unbelievable.
Doobie Brothers like
Super
your ceviche, right?
Yeah, they were awesome. It was real nice, tight. You know, there's only about 8 of us.
Yeah.
You know, so it was really, really cool. So.
What's going on out here? We got kids yelling and screaming. Are those Morrison's kids? Mike Morrison's kids are here. The great manager of 22nd Street Landing. And Brent just stuck his nose in here a moment ago. Brent just started working here, and he said he's looking forward to seeing me at the fair. The fair's getting ready to start, so that's going to be a crazy time for me, as always.
That's right. Huh?
I might lose the rest of my hair. Oh, I already did. I forgot about that.
No stress. No stress. You don't even worry about it.
So great stuff. Yeah, 4th of July was great down at the beach. A lot of people all dolled up in their USA.
Yep.
Right, you know, I love that.
That's what it's all about, folks. Don't forget, there's a lot of people that paid their lives for that flag. So never take it softly. You know
No. You can't. You just can't, because you know we're just one generation away from losing this if we go down the wrong path.
Absolutely.
And we can go down that path. We got to be very, very careful about that.
That's why I like how you reiterate everything. You know.
We got the U.S. flag everywhere, don't we?
Well, you know, it should be. You know. We wouldn't have these freedoms. We wouldn't be able to do what we do if it weren't for that. You know?
I to be honest with you, I was not. I mean, I was always proud of being an American, but I wasn't out there waving the flag so much. But after 9/11 and times after that, you started getting these people who would say to you, "I'm very uncomfortable with you flying that American flag. It just makes me uncomfortable." And I'm like, "What?" Not me, but I mean, you'd hear that all the time. And then you started hearing what a crappy country this is and how lousy it is. And for sure, these are people who've never traveled outside of the country, because I've lived in communist China. I can tell you, this is way better than that, or
Phil,
several other areas, Danny.
I got something to tell them. Leave. Go find your dream country if you think that's what it's about. But you know, there's so many of us that come back from all over the world over the years, and we've gotten along. And I think that's one thing. If you don't think that's what made this country great, you know, that's a huge part of it.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we were, you know, as Japanese, we were persecuted. I mean, my
big time.
Our sides, both my grandparents on both sides left Japan in 1892, Phil, for religious freedoms.
Yeah.
Because
they were Christians.
Christians, and they're being executed, you know, persecuted and executed.
Yeah.
So both sides came over in the 1890s. And my dad, my uncles all fought, you know, and my dad's 4 older brothers fought in World War II. My dad, you know, fought in the Korean War and, you know, spent a year in hospital surviving a plane crash in the Air Force, you know. So they all paid, you know, we paid our dues, and I respected it. And had I been drafted in Vietnam, you know, I had friends who go, "Hey, we're gonna go up to Canada. You want to come up with us?" I says, "No," because 4 of my uncles and my dad would come up to Canada and beat the heck. I'd
be worse than going to the war.
It would be worse. Yeah, it was easier to go to Vietnam.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, we gotta respect that a lot of people paid for that, our freedom, and to do what we do. You know, and then we wouldn't be able to go fishing and do this and do that and travel around the world because we have a country that backs us.
Yeah, 100%.
So
Gotta love it.
Don't take that for granted, folks.
Hey, everybody, hit that like button. Share these videos everywhere. You can share them right now and have other people join the party with the Danny Kadota Show. Also, remember, you can follow us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and subscribe and tick that rotten, filthy, disgusting, smelly, deplorable little bell, and you'll be notified when there's new content. You want me to read a couple of comments and get us going here?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it because Chivo
Absolutely.
Robledo is here with us. Chivo, you are the man. One of these days, we're going to get together and go fishing or do something and have breakfast, do something really fun. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Thank you, Chivo. It's good to have you with us. It's good to have Mad Dog Anthony back with us here. He's in the studio. He could stick his face in there if he wanted to. We would like him to.
There you go.
He's been out there on the El Patron. He's working on the El Patron. I haven't told him this, but when my wife came back from Costa Rica, she brought him a gift. And then I told her, oh, well, Anthony's working on oh, no, Felipe, that makes me so sad. Oh, he was your right arm. Oh, that was pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I tried to tell her that. But you know how women like to get overly dramatic, especially Costa Rican women. Boy, they are nuts. Just this one. I don't mean to get everybody involved in that. Halibut man, favorite fish to catch on the regular. What's your favorite fish to catch? If you could pick a fish, what would it be?
Oh my God. Yeah, probably yellowtail fish. I mean, because we do it local, we do it long range, and there's different types of yellowtail fishing. I mean, you can go to the islands and fish them on light line, when they're touchy. So it takes light line and, hot chovy, or you fish them with a leadhead and squid where they get a little dumber. And then you can get to, like, when we go down to Lejos Rocks, we're all making bait, catching these salamis like this, and using, 12, 13-ounce hooks and dropping down the weights and catching these yellows that are just epic, unbelievable, So, I mean, you go all kinds of ways on there. I mean, and then there's a point where you get real serious, you can go to New Zealand.
Yeah, right.
Go after those 100-pounders, in New Zealand. So, yeah. And it's the same fish, but that fish can do it all over the place.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think I'll blow everybody's mind and say rock cod. I love cod fishing, especially if I could get away with at least a 10-hook gangion. Can't do that anymore.
Oh, God.
But
That's
if I could do that, I'd be in heaven, man. 10, 15, 20, something like that. That was so much fun.
Phil just wants to be called the Codfather.
Hey, man, there's too many
The
other people.
Codfather,
Mike Reed's the Codfather. I cannot take that away from the great Mike Reed. That is for sure. Really good stuff. All right, Robert Slager says, I believe Danny said he got spooled by a fish on his recent trip on the American Angler. Danny wearing the shirt. Could he share what tackle he was using and what type of fish it might have been?
Well,
did you almost get spooled?
You know what? I got spooled.
Or you did
pretty
get
good.
spooled?
Well, not spooled, but I got taken down pretty deep. And we were at Alejos, and there was only one yacht there, sitting there. And we picked a couple fish, but I hooked something. I think it was probably a bigger yellowfin, on 50-pound. And usually with my 50, I could, I've landed fish in the over 100-pound range, but this thing just stayed out, kept taking line, and it was a nice unit, but we never got to see it. What happened was, I ended up unbuttoning the fish, because, it's one of those things, people, when you're fishing that type of fish and you're challenged with your gear, you got to put in your head, I'm going to get it, I'm going to break it off. Because if you just play with it, it's going to chew through your line. There's something going to happen. You got to make that fish. You got to beat the will of that fish. And unfortunately, the fish won. Beat my will. But you know what? You have to have that attitude. You're going to say, I'm going to get them, I'm going to break them off, because eventually it's going to chew through or something. Particularly when it's misproportionate line size to fish. So it could have. We're thinking. We were just surmising it probably was a pretty big yellowfin.
Yeah, probably, right?
Probably a yellowfin.
Like 100 plus pounds.
Yeah, it didn't fight like a tail. I mean, I've caught big tails there at Lejos, and it's more of an up and down deal. So, I'm thinking it was, well into the hundreds, I'm sure.
All right. Boy, we got all kinds of excitement going on. Now
so-
there's a dog fight going on.
Yeah, hey, we'll take it all.
I'm loving it. Speaking of yellowfin, Danny, if you think that was a yellowfin, The Aztec fishing up here in the bluefin zone had 2 yellowfin, and now the San Diego today fishing on their full day trip had 10 bluefin the last time I checked in with them, and a yellowfin. Jeff Lingle runs a yacht, found 70-degree water off of St. Quentin, caught a Dorado about 3 weeks ago. Are we going to get some warm water stuff in here pretty soon?
70.
Yeah.
70. Wow.
It's pretty interesting, huh?
Yeah, it's interesting. We don't know that. And that's what keeps it really fun for all of us, So when it happens, you just got to go, You never know.
You don't. But I'll tell you one thing, the boys which are like that, catching yellowfin, they bite good. They're daytime biters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, would they love that.
Oh, that nighttime bluefin fishing, it's so taxing on the crew. It's unbelievable. I really feel for them. I was kind of glad we didn't have to fish the bluefin, that we just did the yellowfin, the yellowtail and stuff down below, and you could get normal sleeping hours while you're on the boat. Otherwise you're up all the time. And it's not just us. I feel for the crew.
Yeah.
Because they get beat up, and they're staying up around the clock. And if they bite, they got to be up, gaffing, tangles, the whole deal. So, and then you go into a daytime bite, and it's brutal. It's just absolutely brutal on the crew. So
yeah,
I'd like to see it get back to a normal schedule. For their sake.
Honestly, when Anthony and I were out on the Apollo, man, I like to go to bed at 8:30 at night, get up at 4.
I'm with you.
And I was up all night for that frigging bluefin because I was filming, and I knew if I went down, it's pretty quiet down in the stateroom. I would, and so it was brutal for me. I'm an old guy, but it was way too much, man.
Yeah. No, I'd like to sleep when it comes down to sleep.
Yep, for sure. Stoke for Life Foundation. They were here today, the Stoke for Life Foundation. Wow. Let me tell you, we have a great podcast tomorrow. We shot this podcast. Danny, he's in a wheelchair, and he has turned his injury from being in a wheelchair to getting out on the water and going fishing and going surfing. They're doing
awesome.
and they are giving this experience to so many others. It's a beautiful thing, man, I'm telling you. And then the volunteers who get to volunteer and help, they get to participate, and they get so much out of it also.
They're doing it out of their heart. Come on. That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was the gentleman's name from Stoke for Life? I'm drawing a blank, Anthony.
You're asking the wrong guy.
Oh, my God, we're all... I'm sorry. I forget. Great guy. I can't wait to introduce you to him and his lovely wife tomorrow.
That's awesome.
And what they're doing out there, it gives meaning to not only their lives, but to so many others. It's absolutely fantastic. We're going to run that tomorrow. I'm waiting to hear what's a good time so everybody can participate in that, and it should be great. I know everybody is going to really enjoy that. All right. Robert Graber, good afternoon. Phil and Danny and the Frieman Adventure Fanatics, Family Fanatics. Happy Danny Kadota Show Monday. That's right, Charles Webb. Charles, forgive me for that. I'm an old man. I get a pass on that. Charles Webb is going to be joining us from Stoke for Life Foundation. It's going to be a great show tomorrow. I know you're going to love it. You may even want to volunteer. And we're going to be announcing our nonprofit here in the next month or so, and we'll be working a lot with Charles. By the way, he's headed down he just got out of the Bay of LA, had a great trip down there.
Awesome.
He said he got down there, he's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And Pongero's like, well, how are we going to do this? And he said, we just talked him through it.
Huh?
They got him out there.
That's awesome.
Caught cabrilla, yellowtail.
Oh, that's terrific.
Got slammed on a Tatty 45.
Oh, I love it. That's awesome. That's terrific.
Yeah. Charles, you are the man. I cannot wait to show that tomorrow. And you'll be able to talk to Charles when we put that out. It's going to be sometime tomorrow, and I'll be letting you all know. I'll let you know in the morning briefing for sure. Are the Sandbass still biting? Asked Robert Graber. I've heard they've gone missing in action as quickly as they appeared. No, they're still around. But there are some holes in the bite right now, Robert. There's no question about it. Down San Diego way, yesterday, great sandbass fishing for some of the boats. The Premier had limits of sandbass. The Dolphin had really good hit. The Freelance out of Davies Locker decided to go to Catalina. He didn't like what he was seeing. But we've seen the Native Sun not with the limits, but close to it. Good hit on them. And a lot of that stuff, Robert, moved up into your backyard. The 805, man. They had some really good fishing. In fact, Eddie Berrigan and Bella, they were on the Aloha Spirit. They had good calico bass fishing, good sand bass fishing, barracuda. Really great fishing on the big log barracuda. It was really good. So a lot of that is up there. And Santa Barbara had great sand bass fishing.
Well, you know, that's
do you
what
think
they do.
are they
Oh,
moving?
they definitely do.
Yeah.
They definitely do, Phil. I could tell you years ago, they were doing studies on the sand bass, and Fishing Game was about to start shutting it down. But
Like this year?
Yeah, and they didn't really understand what goes on with those things. They come out of down in Mexico. I can't remember the bay now, Phil, but where they breed.
Abreojos or?
It's pretty far down. It's
Yeah.
a ways down.
Yeah.
But they'll migrate up, and we would follow those. Even when we got down there in June, a lot of times if the tails weren't biting, we shoot down the coast, and there was clouds of sand bass, and it was fun. It was good because we, keep the passengers busy, get your limits, and then go look for yellows and stuff, But these clouds would come up, and they just progressively come up the coast. I mean, clouds, and they get on the bait, the chovy balls or whatever. But I mean, they'll follow it all the way up to up in Santa Barbara, the Channel Islands.
Yeah, oh,
and
yeah.
they don't get around Conception, and then they come back down. And it was funny because I can remember when they were trying to shut them down at one point, the biologists didn't know, the migration pattern. And I remember Russ Iser calling me and says, "Hey, you got to come with me. We got to go up to a hearing." I go, "For what?" He goes, "For the sand bass. They're going to shut it all down because there's no shortage of sand bass up there." I said, "Well, what time was the survey done?" "Well, September." Yeah, by that time they're already migrating, turning around, going south. They fed up. They're spawning. They're heading south, right? And so it was sad, and that's why over the years I've been kind of reluctant to take what Fishing Game says verbatim, and we've done our homework. And that was Russ Iser that fought that at that time too.
Yeah.
So
Michael Emo
Hey, Michael.
with a macaroni
Hey,
fish. Michael,
unreal,
show
man.
everybody that beautiful fish. Michael, what'd you catch that fish on?
Squid
Who
and
cares? No, I'm only kidding. What'd you catch it on?
a piece of mackerel, size 6 blacktail hooks with a Friedman Adventures line.
Woo!
wow, did he
Blacktail
plug
hooks.
that?
Michael Limon, everybody. Blacktail hook. Sky, are you listening out there, Sky? You owe Michael Limon a number 6 hook. Just one. Nine, we don't want to spoil them. So, yeah, absolutely. And this is a year right now, this year where the Fish and Wildlife was going to,
Yeah.
shut down the sand bass.
That's where I have problems, with politics and the biology meet. A lot of times, there's a lot of conflict in what really goes on out there.
Yeah, right on. 100%.
Yeah.
You think we can get Mike Morrison to come in here and tell us how fishing was?
Oh yeah, well, that
he
was him
gone?
carrying the rods. that's
Mike.
all.
Oh,
yeah,
he's
we're
gonna be
good.
right here. He's a
We're
very
gonna get-
important guy.
Getting the hot dope,
The
man.
manager of 22nd Street.
We are
He's
gonna
very
get
important. He can't
hot
come right
off
away.
hot off the boat.
There's all kinds of racket going on here. It sounds like a party. We're loving it. I love every single second of this. This is out of control down here today. Mad Dog says that filthy, rotten, disgusting bell. Make sure you tick it. You'll be notified when there's new content. We've had something like 5,000. Hey, 5,000 new subscribers to all our Friedman Adventures, whatever it is we do, social media. I'm gonna lose it there,
You
man.
can't get on the El Patron without subscribing.
You can't get on the El Patron, or Anthony will make you walk the plank. First it's Scott Bouchard, and then it's you. And Robert Graver's glad to see you back also, Anthony. Anthony, by the way, you are going to love salsa lisano. I'm telling you. I
wait.
just think you're going to love it. I'm going to bring you that tomorrow. All right. And Steve Brandon says, hi, Phil and Danny. Steve, thank you for being here, my friend. Just got back from a 3-day trip on the American Angler. Bluefin limits for me
awesome.
and my son, Steve.
Good job.
Woo!
Good job.
Way to go.
They're my boys there.
Danny wore
Angler
that
boys.
shirt of your honor, Steve.
got
Way
it.
to go,
You
man.
got it.
And I'm sure you had a great time with your son, man. Those are great great situation.
All right, hot off the boat. Bud.
What's up?
Come on.
Boy,
Give
look
us
at
a
that.
scoop.
Can I look at your beard real
quick? Get in
quick?
here. Let's get the scoop.
All right, you're getting in on the Monte Carlo.
Yes.
It looks like you had a bunch of kids with
We
you.
were preparing to go catch Sandbass like 2 weeks ago. This is my Little League team from Eastview.
Oh, man.
Oh, cool.
Mike's Little League team. That's awesome.
Water rolled, got cold. Steve-O threw an audible. We caught. I wish they didn't fillet it, but a sculpin all of 4.5, 5 pounds.
Wow.
Oh, that's a chunk.
Biggest one I put my eyes on. And it was a seasoned angler caught it, but it's sculpin fishing, so you're not really like targeting the.
Yeah.
I was fishing a fluke that big, catching regular size sculpin, but 8-ounce torpedo sinker, lead head right in the mud.
You just hold that and talk
Yeah,
into it.
lead head right in the mud. Different areas, Steve-O said, so sculpin are everywhere. No size limit, but they were all big ones. Everybody was doing the right thing, throwing the small ones back,
that's awesome.
which was cool.
Good.
Yeah.
Now, what about the kids? I mean, you got a bunch of newbies.
Oh, they
love it?
It took them about 2 or 3 drops to figure it out after they realized if they don't just drop all at once,
Come on.
Yeah.
they don't get as tangled. So there were 75 people on the boat today, and 28 of them were us. So,
Wow.
so it was
Cool,
good.
cool.
We did stop and check out the horseshoe, the IW. It was, on the meter, it was good. Water was green. But it just didn't have the life. Birds were up looking around, but just green, cold water.
Yeah.
Me and the boys have been on the bait boat every night. We're going out again tonight at 9 looking for sardines. Hopefully we can get some sardines in the barge, but some badass anchovies.
Yeah.
They're huge.
How cold is the water, Mike?
It was 61 today.
That's
so-
amazing for July, right? It's a little cold.
Yeah.
But
It is.
it's going, it flips overnight. We just had a little bit of I don't know, whatever northern breeze come down this way with a south swell, which is weird because it should be, warmer.
Yeah, right.
Even the Newport bait barge,
push
the
it
bait's
up,
living
yeah.
because it's cold down there. Normally that's the first barge that gets the warm water in the south swell. So half day, bring your kid out for free with every paid adult. Today I brought, 30 kids with us today. It was pretty awesome. Benji was knocking the crap out of them today.
Benjamin, way to go, buddy.
All right, good.
He was in contention for jackpot until Coach Carlin got a big one. Did you see it? I think it was huge. The biggest sculpin you've ever seen, right? That was
Biggest
badass.
one you've ever seen?
Pretty close. I
Yeah.
got one in the harbor that was
5
pretty
pounds
big. It
is
was,
huge.
it
Wow,
was huge.
that is huge.
But I don't know. That's what we did today. The half-day boat and pursuit ran today. So outside of that, it's
Yeah.
good fishing. They're guaranteed go all week. So show up.
What's up on the Freedom? They have a 2.5 day coming up? Is
Two
that
and a half
right?
day on Saturday. If we catch sardines, then we'll guarantee it to go catch tuna at least one of the 2 days.
Yeah.
It's biting real close to home. You guys know that.
Yeah, we heard.
Just need to get the right wiggly worms to throw at
Yeah.
them. So, but other than that, I'm tired. I got to go take a nap, and then I got to go hang out with Mark.
Mike, good to see you. Thanks, man.
Good call, man.
Thank you for letting me
Benjamin.
Awesome, you got
You're
it.
the
Good
man.
job. Excellent.
See you
Good
guys.
job.
Hey, Mike, great
Yeah,
job
take
with
care.
the kids, too. That's awesome. All right, Mike taking his Little League team out. Mike Morrison, everybody, a super great guy. I hope he doesn't hear that because his head gets really big when I
That's
say
awesome,
stuff.
though, you know.
That's great, right?
This is where it starts.
Yeah.
This is where it starts. I mean, this is, if it weren't for fishing, I'd have been in a lot of trouble as a kid. I did.
Yeah.
I used to get into fights. I used to get into all kinds of trouble. And they would dangle fishing over my head, and that's the only thing that kept me on the straight and narrow. 'Cause
Yep.
I liked fishing more than I did getting in trouble,
Yep.
which was hard to believe, but yeah.
You know, I
Maybe it
managed
worked.
to go fishing all the time and still get in trouble. So I was ambidextrous.
You the man.
I did my best, let me tell you. All right, these guys are awesome.
Hello.
What a bunch of great kids out with Mike. David Betroy says, hello, Phil and Danny. David, thank you for being with us, my friend. Robert Graber says, hey, Mad Dog. I think I already read that, didn't I? Yeah. Steve Brandon. Oh, yeah, okay. Here we go. I'm catching up. Robert Graber, 72-degree. Backside of Santa Cruz Island yesterday. Send those pelagics up. Tony's in the 805. Who
72
knows?
back there?
That's what he says, man. And you can take what
Up-
Robert
up
says
there.
to
Wow.
the bank.
Wow.
Okay, to us. Got you, man. Yeah, I don't know. This yellowfin. Now, if you go back to last year, Sam De La Torre will be live over there in just a little bit. He said, If you remember, Danny, that yellowfin, those guys on the long range boats, it kept creeping closer and closer to San Diego. And Sam said, maybe it doesn't slide down that far next year. It'll slide in here in July or August. And maybe that's what we're looking at here.
You know what? They're going to be wherever that bait is.
Yeah, I'm looking.
They're going to find it. They'll know.
I'm thinking with this warmer water now, Jeff had 70 down there off San Quintin. Where else did I hear there was 70? Well, when I put my foot in the water, my tootsies in the water this morning at Surfside, warm. Way warmer than it's been.
Wow.
And then Mike walks in here and says, it's cold. So it's just kind of patchy and all over the place.
66 on the way to Catalina.
60. Anthony says 66 on the way to Catalina.
Yesterday it was like 60, 61.
60, 61. So it's just vacillating and changing right now. Hopefully it'll settle in here very, very soon. Stoke for Life Foundations, big love to you, man. I can't wait for that tomorrow. It's going to be great. I can't wait to do a lot more work with you in the very near future. Carver Gruber had, what's that? Do you get that?
Nope.
Anthony?
Nope, I think it was a typo.
Oh, there it is. The freelance hitting for Twilight Sandbass. I think the freelance is fishing for Twilight Sandbass, which is a great thing. We'll take it. And so is the El Patron for that matter. www.longbeachsportfishing.org. Get on the El Patron. You'll see Anthony on there if you're fishing on the daytime hours. That is for sure. John Dulay. Hey, John, welcome. Hi, Phil. Does anyone on the Sea Adventure 80, 22 open spaces left? The boat needs 10 more to go. All right, so I think John is saying that the Sea Adventure 80 is running a trip this Sunday night and returning Tuesday morning. They need some more people. Brian Henley is up there in the great state of Washington.
Oh.
Is it a great state?
Yeah, I used to have fun up there.
Yeah?
Salmon fishing, all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Brian is in the middle of that
Still
all
hitting.
the time. Brian won a brand new fishing rod the other night on Tackle Shop Confessions. I still have his tackle in that white bag there. Dan Lightfoot will attest to it, Brian. It's right in front of him. Hi, Phil and Danny. Thanks for all the great info and entertainment you make waiting in line to get back into the U.S. from Canada bearable. He's watching us
Oh, my
coming
God.
back from Canada. How do you like
you're up
that?
there with the knuckleheads, huh? Good deal. Good deal.
Brian, that is great, man. I'm so honored that you are watching us coming across the border up there from Canada. David Betroy, my humble opinion that Sandbass and Barracuda love anchovy, hence lots of anchovies this year, and both Sandbass and Barracuda are showing up in good numbers. And I think David's making a very good point, don't you?
Yeah.
You just talked about the
yeah.
bait and how that makes such a big difference. And he's pointing out that Sandbass and Barracuda love anchovy. We got a lot of that. And he thinks that's probably why we're seeing such good fishing on those species.
There's one other fish that I want to see with these anchovies.
Oh, yeah.
It'll bring everybody out of the woodwork. That's for sure.
Yeah, but is there still time?
Oh, yeah, there's plenty of time. There's
Yeah.
plenty of
In
time.
fact,
Just-
it's colder water, man.
Yeah,
That colder water,
we
warmer
just don't
water,
know,
it's
you
all
know.
over the place.
And
man.
we always look for purple blue water, but I've seen them when those big fish came in '84 in the channel here. The color was off. They was off colored, but there was all those huge ones. Those world record ones for that matter.
Yeah.
Like Frank Kennedy and my Gallagher had the 75 pounder, but they had some huge albies in the channel here that year. And we went out there and got 50s and 60s, and we thought it was, it was a treat being so close. Some of that stuff was just outside the rigs, and so really, folks, we don't know. We just don't know. You just keep your fingers crossed, and conditions are right. But certainly with the bait, the chovies and stuff, Phil. I mean, that's a good indicator.
Yeah, heck yeah. And the fishing,
Yeah.
it's been as good as we've seen it in decades here
Yeah.
in SoCal this year.
Yeah.
It's been phenomenal. And like you say, these fish move, so it seems like they've kind of bled up into the northern region now. Channel Islands,
Yeah.
really good fishing there on the Aloha Spirit and several other boats. And Santa Barbara had great sand bass fishing. But then you look down south, all the way down there, they were getting them, and they're certainly getting them in Ensenada.
Yeah.
So-
it's good.
But
deal.
by the way, speaking of Ensenada, I saw a couple of Pongero friends of mine sent me some photos. Good yellowtail fishing there, and they're getting the bluefin now.
Oh wow, cool.
So we're loving it. We love our neighbors to the
Yeah,
south
that's awesome.
catching fish down
Yep.
in beautiful Mexico. Alberto Ponce says, good afternoon, fellas. Albert, best to you and your lovely family. And Halibut Man says, hey, Mad Dog. To which Mad Dog says, I just saw you like 5 minutes ago. What are you saying hi for? Glenn Delmando. Hello, Phil, Danny, and Anthony from Wicked Tackle Box. Glenn, I haven't seen you in way too long. Anthony behind the scenes, always great to hear you all. Getting my gear ready for next week's tuna trip on board the Cortez out of C4 Sport Fishing. Looking forward to the bluefin action. Glenn, best of luck. You're fishing with Rambo. And I got to introduce Anthony to Rambo when we were down in San Diego probably 2 months ago now. Seems like a week ago, but I'm guessing it was like 2 months ago. So nobody better than the Rambo man to do it. He's going to hopefully put you on some fish. What do you think about, we're moving up on the full moon. Tomorrow we got a grunion run. We're going to be on the full moon. Is it going to shut this BFT down again? Or it's been doing it every single moon phase.
It's been
weird.
on. It's been on. It's been probably, realistically, probably the most consistent fishing of all, It's just, we're looking, I don't know why. Maybe it's just a big wish, but we're still looking for other fish that can come in, given that you have chovies in the area, those little, the guys with the little wings, we're still wishing, because I got to tell you, should that happen, it'll go nuts, Phil.
Yeah, I know.
It just goes bananas. I can guarantee you mayhem, because, it's not only just a good eating fish, but it's a fish that, guys catch easily. It's a fish that those that can hone their fly line chovy skills, can take advantage of. And it's sporting. We're fishing. We generally fishing with 20-pound line, 25, and so it takes, takes you to be able to fly line a chovy and get that thing to swim, and bingo, you got pure white meat tuna.
Oh man, it's the best.
Yeah,
There's no doubt
awesome.
about it.
Yeah.
And we are seeing that yellowfin, which is an indicator of warm water. But I know, Danny, as you look back, if you remember, I do at least, that there were years where you'd have that warm water along the Baja coast, and
pockets,
then outside.
Pockets on the edge.
So you'd be catching Dorado and yellowfin in there. And then outside, you'd have that colder water on the 60, or even way out there on the worm bank.
It's a whole different world.
Yeah, and you'd be catching algae out there. So it doesn't mean we're not going to get both. Doesn't mean we're going to get both. It doesn't mean anything, I guess, but it's fun to guess at all of this, that's for sure.
Keeps it interesting.
Lipper the Fisherman, great show, guys. Got a quick one. Will we see the spot fin now? But where do they go for the rest of the year? And I think you're talking about spot fin croaker. We've been catching a few down there in Surfside. On our last event, there was a guy that had two really nice ones. I think you were talking about spot fin croaker. And so, sometimes in the summer, you get into a situation where they're not in the picture. They show up in that spring bite, and then you get into summer, and they kind of disappear for a little bit, and then they rebite in the fall. But who knows? I mean, I just saw a couple of really nice ones. I've heard of some fish down there on Bolsa Chica area. Not a lot, but a little bit. So we'll see, Lipper, how that all comes out. Mad Dog saying hi to Glenn Delmendo, and Glenn Delmendo crossing his fingers and making the sign of the cross if he's Catholic. I don't know if he is. But he's praying that the moon doesn't mess with the feeding frenzy. Christian Kapulin. Christian, great to have you with us. He's heading to the landing right now to pick up his customer, Phil Frieman, or his custom Phil Frieman shirt. Christian, we got it here for you. If I'm blabbing away here, just walk in here and Anthony will take good care of you, my friend. And he's got a few gifts for me. I'll take gifts, man. Thank you.
Deal. Christmas comes early.
Christian, thank you so much, man. And like I say, Anthony's right here. Even you can walk in and pull on Dan Lightfoot's mustache if you want. It's okay with me. Brian Hanel. Sandbass were given the name turd rollers years ago for a nasty little habit they have whenever someone would go in the head and take a dump. They would come up and boil on the floating brown bait. There you go. What's,
All right, a true story. True story.
Here you go, Brian. You
I'm
got
at-
to
I'm at-
look what you started here.
I'm at Catalina, folks, and every now and then we have our straight hot dog charters on the boat, but we get rent rod groups, And so when we had the rent rod groups, if they couldn't make the cast for the calicos and everything else, we could always load up a bag of blue perch for them, right? So we're over at Catalina. on the
Crapper
front side.
snappers, everybody.
Oh my God. Crystal blue water, using little chunks of squid. And to get them going, they wanted to catch game fish. Well, they're novices. They're all rent rods. So we want to get something in their sacks for them, okay? So, we go, okay, chop up little pieces of squid, put a little small split shot on, and they just solid blue perch on the boat. Well, one by one, these guys they're getting into it. They're filling their sacks with blue perch, and nice ones. I mean, chunks, So, and that's a great fish for novices, right?
Yeah.
To get them going. So anyway, back in those days, and I may still have those things, but the boats had in the heads, it was just through whole water, right? It was right through the hull, right? So somebody went into the head and laced some brown and white squid. Of course, white's the toilet paper, but it was coming out under the boat. Beautiful sunny day, crystal blue water, and here you see the toilet paper and everything else floating down underneath the boat, and the perch are sitting, the blue perch start pecking on this stuff, and everybody's looking down.
Like,
They
I don't
went
wanna eat those things.
They went to the bait tank, and they had these gunny sacks full of blue perch, and we're thinking, oh my God, the kids are going to do great with the fillets with the blue perch,
Yeah,
right?
right.
They sat there, they took it off the hooks, and they all dumped them out. So much for that. So anyway, just thought a true story.
Crapper snappers,
Yeah.
turd rollers,
Turd
man.
rollers.
Well, I don't. Does it have anything to do with the way they taste if they're eating that crap?
I don't know. I've never eaten one, to be honest with you. After that, I
Do they
wouldn't eat
taste
one.
like mierda or not?
I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't know.
I don't think
In all
so.
these years, we tell everybody it's good.
Dan says they smell like hell. Well, I've caught a million blue perch in my day. I remember going.
How many
on-
have you eaten?
I don't think I've ever eaten one.
Okay, so you're in the same situation I'm in.
Yeah, right. What? What were you gonna say, Anthony?
Stink when you cut 'em up.
He says they stay when you cut them up, man. So,
Well, we used to tell them, they go, wait, do you guys like eating steak? And the guys would go, yeah. He goes, well, it doesn't taste anything like it. Doesn't taste anything like it.
oh my God.
geez.
Well, we've just destroyed the whole industry. Nobody's gonna want a sandbass or a blue perch again in the rest of their
but they used
lives.
to take it to the fish markets, and people would buy it.
Oh, yeah.
Fry 'em, they'll taste like a taco.
Yeah, I think it was probably Dipley or one of those guys, but he wouldn't let my brother and I fish for bass until we filled a trash can full
Sure,
of blue
there's this
perch.
side money, right?
Yeah, so, okay.
Okay, somebody wants them. Well, actually, the slabs here, for some reason, they like them in Pedro, and a lot of the slab guys, friends of ours that were in the industry, and like Dinko at the boatyard, those guys, we would take them, and they would, I don't know how they prepared them, but they used to love them. Maybe they soaked them in bleach. I don't know, but they would actually love them. Yeah.
My rosebush love though.
This
Your rosebush. There you go. Maybe
This
that's what it
rosebush
was.
loved every single second of it. So I don't know. We're gonna have to get. You can put you in charge of that. Fillet out, 3 or 4 blue perch that somebody doesn't want, and then we'll taste test them here.
There you go.
Would you do it?
I'll watch you guys do it.
What? You won't even
cook
do
'em.
it?
I'll cook them for
This
you.
is the Danny Kadota Show.
Yeah, exactly. I'll cook them for you.
We're like
Put
the
lots
food-
of garlic, lots of garlic. Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, then it's gonna be good.
There
Yeah,
you go.
but with tons of butter and garlic, you're never gonna know the difference.
Cut 'em up to me.
We got to do a blue perch taste test
There
one
we
of
go.
these days. I'm telling you,
We're
right
putting
now.
it out there.
Yes, right?
No, my rosebush.
Chris Pro. Hey guys, Chris from Tucson. What is the real deal with boat burgers? Do they really cause you not to get seasick, or is it just the fact that you have something in your stomach? Honestly, Chris and Danny, I'll defer to you. I've never heard that before, that you eat a boat burger and you don't get seasick.
Yes, buy 2 of them.
Yeah, really. Anthony's cooking in the galley. He says, buy at least 3, you know? That'll cure you every time. I've seen a lot of boat burgers go back into the sea, vomiting.
I've had that.
People
I've
vomiting.
seen that over the years too.
So, have you ever heard that a boat burger will cure your seasickness?
Was
I
told
think somebody's trying to
was
sell you
told
boat
many
burgers
times,
there,
yeah.
Chris. Yeah, right?
Breakfast
Yeah.
burritos do though.
Breakfast burritos make you vomit? What do they do?
They help with seasickness.
Man, I'm telling you, this is getting out of control here. All right, John Dulay, how many rods should I bring for a day and a half trip? I've got a 7.2 heavy rod combo, 2 for medium-sized fish, 1 spinning reel with 2 rods for medium to light fishing. Should I bring all 4 rods and reels? Yes, why not?
Yeah, it's not going to hurt. But I mean, you know, they're saying a day and a half, 2 day.
Yeah,
Chances are you really won't need the super light.
the light stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, 20 would probably be your lightest. If you can cast, 20 would be the lightest.
Yeah, and that would be kelp-hattie yellowtail, something like that,
and
right?
you'd be able to land most of those fish with 20-pound, you know, as your lightest rod. And if they start to chew, you want something in between, like a 30, you know, and then a heavier rod, maybe a 50 or something. Depends. Check
Yeah.
with the count, check with the boats, wherever you're targeting in that area. If it's a day and a half, I mean, obviously, if you're going offshore, if you're fishing bluefin, you're probably going to want to step up a little bit and have an heavier outfit too, you know.
All right, there you go, John. Take it from the man here, Danny Kadota. And if he screwed it up, make sure you send a dirty letter into
Right.
him and let him know.
Right.
Stoke for Life Foundation. Charles says, Phil, I'll be sending you reports from the East Cape later this week. Super grateful for your support. Charles, I'm telling you, that was, Anthony knows when you left, we talked about it. It's just such a high to see what you're doing, to see what you've overcome in your personal life, being injured when you were 19 in that motorcycle accident, and then taking that to the point where now you're sharing your love of sport fishing and, you know, water sports in general because of the healing effects of the ocean on people. It's great stuff, Charles, and I can't wait to get your reports. That is going to be fantastic. We're going to be working together for a long time to come. Manila ice cream, that is Jason. Perch from the south is much better. Just deep fry it.
Anything deep
From the
fried,
south,
right?
meaning like what? Clarion Island? Or what do you mean from the south, Jason? Yeah, I mean, I'm sure if you deep fry that fillet of that crap, it's going to taste fine.
The fillets look
Yeah,
white.
it will.
The fillets are white.
They
They're
do.
nice. They're not.
Yeah,
just-
but
they
Fillets
smell-
look great,
they
Anthony
smell
says.
their stomach, I guess.
Yeah, it smells a little poopy, that's for sure. Oklahoma South. Okay.
Okay.
Oklahoma. So we're talking about, obviously,
Down south.
Crappie, yeah.
Happy.
I haven't eaten that either, but everybody tells me that crappie's the best eating. Brian Shaw loves crappie fishing and tells
There
me
you
it's
go.
great eating. My kids
Go get
have
a
told
beat.
me that. So Jason, Manila Ice Cream is telling us that. What can I tell you, man? And he would know. How? I don't know, but he knows. He used to live in Oklahoma. That's how. Damn it. Thank you, Anthony. I'm glad somebody's got this show under control because I'm coming apart at the seams. Having way too much fun. Hit that like button, everybody. We deeply appreciate that. So our bluefin tuna bite's been pretty good. There's been some misses, Danny, but overall it's been good. There's a lot of this 20 to 40 pound fish running around. Not to say that there's not a lot of 100-pound stuff, but
Yeah.
there's some of that fish, and honestly, you know, if there's novice anglers, those catchable size fish are great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keys.
And, you know, I mean, and it goes back, does it go back to fly lining and the bait and, you know, fishing them on light line during the day?
How's it going?
They get your skills
You want to come in here and stick your nose in here? Come over here.
Yeah, give him your presents. He's been talking
No.
Yeah, there you go.
Christian, how are you, man?
Nice to see you.
My pleasure, man. Come on in here and
Awesome.
thank you so much. Say hi to everybody out there. You're on live with us. Thank you so
Right.
much for coming, and thank you for
Oh,
that.
thank you.
I
man.
appreciate
I
it.
appreciate you, man. I
Oh.
love everything you do, man. You're awesome, brother.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Christian. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man.
Stop.
You got
nice
it.
To meet
You got it.
man.
Nice to
Oh,
meet you.
it's
too.
our pleasure, man. Thanks for coming by.
Awesome. Thank
All right,
you.
Anthony's gonna take care of you out there,
Hey,
and
dude, you look sharp in the shirt, man. I'm
Hey,
excited
thank
to
you.
look at it, man.
man, you're gonna look sharp in it,
Oh,
man.
thank you, guys.
Yeah.
I'll leave this with the gentleman, right?
Thank you, Christian.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, that's Christian, and he's come down here to pick up his Phil Frieman shirt, and we really appreciate that. Thank you so very much. Folks, they've got hats here at 22nd Street Landing. If you're looking for a new Friedman Adventures hat, we got to get you one. You don't have one.
I do, but it's
A brand new one. Do we get
Yeah.
you a brand new one?
Oh, no, I haven't.
Yeah, we
But
got to get you a brand new one.
I wear it fishing.
Don't let Dan pilfer through my gift. Dan.
For you and your wife.
Oh, I get to. Hey, Christian, I'm going to tell my wife I got her all that stuff, so keep it between us there.
Yeah.
No, I'm only kidding you.
Currently
Mira, mi
watching it right
amor.
now. Yeah.
Amor, this is for your citizenship. More good stuff. So, Danny, we're seeing good bluefin tuna fishing. I like the fact we're seeing the yellows, but I am intrigued with the Aztec with 2 yellowfin tuna, and today the San Diego. And you know, the one thing we don't know about, or we don't have any intel on at least, is there's a lot of private boaters out there. I'm guessing they've caught a few too.
Yeah, I'm sure. Especially when they start coming into the inner banks and stuff. You know, the range on those on the smaller boats is substantial. They can get down there in no time. You know, and well, we'll hear back.
Yeah,
We'll hear
for
back,
sure.
you know, but yeah.
When you were fishing yellowfin tuna, they don't get lockjaw that often, do they? They
Not
bite
too
pretty
often.
good, don't they?
They usually come up and chew. You put the bait on them and they'll chew, you know. And the footballs are crazy. The small ones, yeah, they go nuts. You'll rarely see them have lockjaw.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's a good passenger fish, a good fish for people to learn on, and good fish to fill the sacks with, you know. But you know, we're getting spoiled. We're getting spoiled. The guys are looking at big bluefin on a regular basis now, and so. But you know, you got to take whatever Mother Nature offers us.
Yeah,
And
that is
that's
for
the deal.
sure.
And just be thankful.
That is for sure.
Just be thankful.
You know, I look at this bluefin tuna fishing nowadays here in 2025, and we've had it for a decade now. What a run. I mean,
Unbelievable.
if I would have
Absolutely
asked you 20 years ago, did you ever think that this kind of scenario would be possible?
No,
You'd have said
because-
what I said.
Yeah,
That.
bluefin was, you know, it was a straight talent fish, a light line, small hook, hot bait, you know, and then it turned into some of these monsters, and you know, you get them on the flat falls and stuff like. It's a whole different game now.
Yeah, it is.
Whole different game. So
It is.
You know, gearing up for them, and it's changed everything. You know, but the thing I look at from the boat standpoint is it's brutal on the crews.
Yes.
You know, because the hours that they're up during the day fishing, and if they got to do a nighttime deal, you know, that crew just gets beat up.
Oh, yeah.
It's really, really a tough deal.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. And not only that, the fact that they get beat up, but they got to be there with those smiling faces because you
yeah.
got a new group
Oh,
of
yeah.
enthusiastic people
Yep.
who can't
Yep.
wait to catch a bluefin. And even though
Exactly.
you feel like if I see
Here
another
I go
bluefin
again.
tuna,
Yeah.
I'm going to kill myself. You can't let that show, or you should. You know.
And fortunately, most of the kids that are working on the boats do it because they love being out there.
That's right.
You know, and we got to be very thankful for that, because if it weren't for that fact, if it was just for, you know, putting in your hours and cashing a paycheck, you know, it'd be a totally different scenario. But the kids are doing it because they love being on the water. They love helping you people, you know. Make sure you listen to them because they're there every day. They'll tell you if something changes or there's a little unique thing that you can do, you know, to give you an edge to get a bite. Listen to them.
Yeah, for sure.
They're there, yeah.
Kyle Johnson. Hey, Kyle, thanks for being here, my friend. Where are all those Dorado from 2023? What a year that was. My God.
Yeah.
I've never
Yeah.
seen anything like it, Kyle. It's amazing. And so far, I'm aware of one Dorado caught this year. I bet there's been more. Again, private boater catches. There's a rumor that one was caught out of San Quintin. I got that from Jeff Lingle, and he found that 70-degree water. Jeff actually had one, I want to say 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. I reported on that on the morning briefing when he caught it. I don't know if we're ever going to see another year like that or not, Kyle. That was just phenomenal. Man, we were on board the Amigo, and we were running toward the Thunderbird. Jeff Markham was calling us in. And there were Dorado, and he was a mile up ahead of us, and there were Dorado jumping out of the water between us and him. And when we got up there, it was really the meat. It was frigging as good as I've ever seen it.
Doesn't
It was
take
like you're down there on the ridge.
Yeah,
Or
does
something
not-
like that.
Does not take long too, and they're good fish for entertainment because they'll jump.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a fun
Colorful.
deal. And they're great eating. You know,
Great
that's another
eating.
thing too. So
Yeah, unless you flush the toilet, man. I've seen those things. Oh no, that's blue perch. I got it mixed up with the blue perch.
and turd
They
rollers.
probably do it too. I'll bet every single
Yeah,
dumb
they probably
fish
do.
would probably
They
do
probably
it if you
do.
gave them a
Yeah,
chance.
yeah.
They're not going to turn their nose up to a big poop right there for them. It's good stuff. Yeah, right? Easy. Don't have to expend any energy. Just move up on it and eat
And
it.
you know the sandbass love that too because they go, hey, we're not the only turd rollers. You know they.
Yeah,
Hey,
right.
you know,
They
come on,
probably welcome the company.
Yeah.
Brian Hanel. Brian, good to see you, my friend Danny. I'm looking for new, old, stock Hobie Sightmaster polarized sunglasses.
Oh my God! Yes, I remember the day.
Where can Brian
when we
find
used to
those?
you know what? I've been out of
eBay.
Probably you're right. Probably eBay. But you know,
Yeah.
a lot of the companies morphed out of like Hobie we went to Costa del Mar's and you know keeping up with. I haven't been in the industry for a long time, but when we were doing it, it was state of the art stuff. But and the good sunglasses don't compromise your eyes. Buy good sunglasses. It's worth it, especially if you're on the water a lot.
Yep, 100%. Yep. Every time I'm in Mexico, Dan has me pick him up a pair of sunglasses for $6.99. I mean, you cannot get a finer, and I wear the same thing, actually. I don't even wear sunglasses, so there you are. All right, very good. That is very, very true. Greg Bates, the elf, is with us. The elf says, hi, Phil, Danny, and the rest of you misfits. Man, he's got it nailed down right. Let me tell you. Brian says, Sightmaster green lenses. I think he's talking about the glasses again.
See, that's way after my time, I guess, because yellow was the one that we used.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that was important when you were spotting fish and
Yeah, and
looking
yellow-
into that
yellow,
water,
well,
right?
Certain conditions.
Yeah.
You know, I had different glasses for different occasions. You know, when I go up to the Sierras, I use the brown tint to pop the colors better. But, you know, on the ocean, we pretty much stayed with the gray lenses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or yellow and low light. Yeah.
This show is ridiculously out of control. So we have 6 minutes left, and we've zoomed through an hour. I can't believe it, can you? We still have a lot more questions and a lot of people watching, and we're having way too much fun tonight. And Greg Bates is back with some pearls of wisdom for you all. I want to make sure I read this with the correct emphasis. Greg Bates, the elf, says, the only sure thing in fishing is there's no sure thing. Right place, right time for that moment. Beautiful.
You know, I had a friend that said, they are where you find them.
That's right. That's another one.
Yeah. I mean,
They
there's a bunch of-
are where you find them. How's that?
Yeah.
Is that the correct?
Yeah.
This is really good stuff. I don't care what anybody says out there. I am really liking this. I want to get a little music and lay that down behind these things and really do it right. Manila Ice Cream says, speaking of glasses, why do so many boat crews prefer blue reflective lenses?
You know, I don't know. To me, what you really want is polarized lenses, though, because that does cut the glare.
Yes.
Technically, I don't know if you guys know, but you know the way it's aligned, you know, it cuts the glare, and that's a big part of it because you know you want to be able to see down in the water. And you know, when I was repping Hobie and Costa del Mar, there were so many technical things, and you know, Phil, I forgot so much of it.
I know, right?
But I do have my specialized glasses for different occasions, you know.
Yeah, and they're important, right?
Yeah,
I know
they are
that
for different conditions. Yeah.
For surf fishermen, they can be really important because you're trying to look down in that glare. And
Right.
when you're fishing corvina,
Yep.
you know, you want to see them. They're sight fish, pretty much. And man,
Exactly.
you put on some of those glasses and you're like, oh, whoa. You
when I
know,
was
this makes a heck of a difference.
Freshwater bass fishing or fly fishing, I would use optic yellow a lot of times. It depends on the light conditions, though.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
22nd Straight Landing in beautiful San Pedro, California. We had Mike Morrison, their manager, on here today. Took a group of kids out. I think he said 27 kids from his Little League kids baseball team. And man, sounded like they had a really good time. The Freedom has a 2.5-day trip coming up this weekend that hopefully you'll be able to get on. And 22nd Street, just a great place to fish out of. 310-832-8304. Brent is up there. Hopefully, Brent, is watching the Danny Kadota Show. If he's not, we're going to go up there and beat the hell out of him after the show, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. All right, Stephen Clark. Stephen, thank you for being here, my friend. Danny or Phil, Danny, do you guys use narrow, spool, or wide reels for casting distance?
It's not so much the casting distance. What species are you fishing?
Uh-huh.
Because I mean, you can cast a narrow reel. For light line bluefin, yeah, I like the small reel, but we're fishing 12-pound line. It's not that way if you're fishing a bigger fish now. So you gotta match it with the size of the fish you're targeting, because you're gonna need line capacity. Although nowadays we're able to put a lot of backing with spectra. You're able to load a lot of yards of spectra and just top shot it with less mono and fluoro, and that's probably the most effective way when it's touchy.
Yeah.
And even your bigger game fishing, obviously, it's more comfortable to fish a smaller reel, but you're going to have to match that to the size of the fish, because that you're going to have the drag.
And casting, no difference between wide and narrow? Are you going to get more distance with one of those or not?
With the narrow probably, but if you're hooking a bigger fish, you're going to make sure you got enough line capacity for it. So you got to match it by the target of the fish that you're targeting. If they're bigger bluefin at nighttime, you're going to be fishing heavier line. If it's light line fish during the day, scale down in size. It's going to be much more comfortable. You'll get bit better with the lighter stuff too.
All right, very good. Colder ice. Hey, good to see you here, Chris. The game changer is here. Let's face it, we all buy ice, right? Stay colder. Last longer. See you all soon. Colder ice. There you have it, Chris. William says, when the Skippy show, the time is right, as I recall, the summer bite starts. Talking about, I think, skip quacks, skipjacks, purple haze.
Yep.
Yeah, they mix up there pretty good, man. We should start seeing a little bit of that also.
Yeah.
Greg Bates says, cloudy day, old time blue blockers.
Cloudy day.
I think he's talking about sunglasses.
Sunglasses.
Yeah.
I when I was up in the wheelhouse, I would keep a yellow, an amber for a cloudy day, because it's brighter, it pops. When I go up bass fishing, the Sierras, I use an amber lens, and then when I'm offshore, usually on a bright day, I use gray. So I keep 3 different shades of sunglasses with me when I'm fishing a lot of times.
I love it. Danny, we've zoomed through an hour. It's 5 o'clock, which means we've come to the end of another great Danny Kadota Show. And, man, I can't thank you enough. It's been a fun show again.
Oh, yeah. All the time.
Constant questions here. A ton of people watching. People love you, Danny. There's no doubt about it.
We got a great peanut gallery.
Yeah, we do, man. If you could only see these guys, I think Anthony should turn the camera around before we.
That's enough.
You're a big peanut.
Head
let me
peanut.
tell you. Stick your head in there too, Anthony. One more time. Come on. There we are. Anthony, you can catch him on the El Patron, everybody. John Dulay says, I don't use any backing. I use the Anaconda knot. I learned it from Team Hard Life spooling videos.
You don't use any backing?
No.
Straight mono?
I'm not sure.
Or straight, yeah. Huh.
Anyway.
Well, that's real old school.
John, catch up with us over there on Tackle Shop Confessions at 6 p.m. live from Island Fishing Tqckle. Danny, thanks.
Phil, always a pleasure.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, folks.
We'll see you next week, 4 o'clock, 20 seconds, 3 landing on the Danny Kadota Show. Take care, everybody.
See ya.
Woo! Man, I'll